Take you to the MK party. The leader, Jacob Zuma, is currently addressing the party's Youth Day commemorations. Let's listen into that.
South Africa. Lomkhonto wesizwe. Sisuka kuchanyana sikabi kude kakhulu. Sinonyaka nje owodwa nenyanga ezimbalwa. Kodwa iqiniso selicacile ukuthi abaphathi bezwe yithi lapha akubona abanye ababenikwe ithuba lokuthi baphathizwe baganga ngalo baganga ngathi basenza yonke into le eminyakeni eminingi noma amashumi amathathu manje eminyaka sathi sikhululekile inhlupheko iya ngokudlanga. We are more poorer than we were before we said we're free, because we're not really free. Perhaps it was just half that was free. Namhlanje ke sithe intsha yase South Africa ayibone ukuthi senzani. Sekunesikhashana sikhona kodwa akekho ngathi akazizwe izigi zethu. I'm very happy that today we are here in our big numbers as young people to say we have taken a decision to finally liberate South Africa. Nobody else would do so if the young people were not there. I am very happy to see you today taking a decision to liberate South Africa in the true sense of the word. I'm sure many of you, when we made an announcement that we're establishing a party called Umkhonto Wesizwe Party, you understood what we meant and what caused us to do so. There were many people, very clever, very bright, who did not see the sun that it has come out. In fact, many were saying this is a joke. We had taken a decision very seriously, which then was sending a message to every citizen, every kind of age at that time. We knew that what faces us was to establish such an organization. We should be the truthful organization and mark that, because when we take decisions against one another, some people seem not to understand what we are doing. We said no one must do what he likes, or no one must do anything that is not in keeping with our own to liberate a black person in South Africa. And if one day one of us that you trust so much, you love, if we said to Zumalo, mfana kithi uyahlupha, why ningenele lokho ningazi nokuthi kwenzekeni? Because we must listen to the leaders. The leaders are there to take decisions. Some of the decisions are not very nice. They may not very nice to individuals as well. But your duty is not to talk when you don't know what is happening. What you need to do is to ask what has happened so that you get an explanation. Don't confuse us as black people, because we are not confused. We are very clear and we are going where we are going. This South Africa is going to be free fully at the end, because here we are. I'm saying this because you are the youth here. The youth has a history in South Africa, and you cannot do a lesser history when the ones who did this many years ago did a lot of things. Yours is to do more. What is it that we're talking about? The tomorrow is yours. We are old now. Even if I claim that I'm a young man, because I am a young man indeed. The reality is that the future is yours. In other words, you are given a task to liberate South Africa. Ours is to point and help you which road to take, what speed to use, which direction you must take. You are to run and kill the animal, because you are youth, not so. When I joined the youth, I was very young, I was very youth. And I could think that I can jump over the building and everything, because that was the spirit I had. And I've done so. I've jumped rivers, mountains. I've done everything. And I can still jump. If that was not the case, Ngabasikola. If that was not the case, Ngabasikola. On the day that I made an announcement that we are going to establish the party, nobody knew, except on that day, on the, what was the date, by the way? 15th December, when I made an announcement. And I said, those which I was part of were fighting for freedom have moved off the road. And I said, I'm establishing this party. But I said something else, which I would say on a different day. And I said, we want to take the elections and win them and rule this country as we said we're going to. Not a number of things that I cannot talk about. And I would not have died before I see the correct and indeed the freedom that we have all spoken about. And when I made an announcement, I knew that at the heart of the revolution is the youth, in fact. It is the youth that are at the heart of succeeding in whatever we do. And I'm very happy that today I can say without hesitation that the youth of this country is on the road to liberate this country. And it is you, all of you. And I must tell you that it is not very far. There are things that we have talked about. And I'm happy because the youth is here. The the youth must talk about the problems of this country. I don't think we should keep quiet and wait that until there is an occasion, blah, blah, blah. We are still oppressed. But the oppression of this time is at another level. And we should not accept it. The youth is here. When we started, we knew that we could not do everything one day. That will come slowly and slowly and until we reach our destination. We have the youth now. The youth. And I want to spend a bit of time with the issue of the youth. The youth has a role to play in history. When the old organization, the ANC, was established, it was just people, old people. But that organization, because it was very clear about what we were doing, they established an organization within the organization of young people. It was that group of young people that pushed the revolution very far as a youth. Their coming brought a new kind of looking forward and fighting. It was this, it were those young people that they began to move all over the country organizing for the liberation of South Africa. And indeed, they started young, and when the change came from the British being in charge of the country to the Afrikaners said a black person is a black person, was put in his place. And the youth said, no, we will do everything to ensure that we liberate. That call was made by the youth. And I'm sure the youth of today should sit down and work out a call that will go with the situation today. I'm saying this because I'm very, because I'm wrong. In the first place, why I'm making this point, we went to elections as a party, the last elections, and nobody does not know that we were robbed. We won. They took it by force. They stopped the counting in the course of the day for 2 hours. 2 hours, taking our votes, giving to themselves, because we're winning. Now we who are old are not making noise about that. I think the youth must ask, where are our votes? Because they are there. We charged or we put up a case. The case does not start because they're afraid. Once it starts, they will lose it. So they are delaying. Why do we keep quiet? Why aren't we asking, where are our votes? As the citizens. If the citizens don't do it, the youth, why is the youth failing to ask, where is our votes? Partly because if we run, by now the change will be very clear in South Africa. people will be employed, will be people that are indeed are trusted, will be people that are in charge. Why do we wait for something we don't know? Because rather than the coming elections, the past elections, that's why we must be making the biggest noise. Where are our votes? Now, thina ngeke sayisho lento ngoba singamakhehla. Nina ntsha nithuleleni. Now, that uyabona le ndaba le ngixoxa manje. Khona abavelelwe laba bangala ngemva kwami. Khona abantu abavela abancane ngemva kwami. Because we now want to get the real, hey, Ibu. Apa mo voted madoda? No ma'am. Happy. Ngikusenge na wakubuza. Kanye. Kabili nje kathathu. Singawabizi njalo. Hey, imtshela. Now, enye into intsha ufana ukuthi iqaphele. We don't have to talk in our country suffering everything, but still just keeping quiet, hoping that God one day will send his son for the second time to come and help us. I'm not sure when will that happen, whether it will happen at all, but the other thing is in other words, there must be voices from the youth to this country about our rights, our freedom, our everything. Even those young ones who are at the kuthiwa indlu la kuhlala khona abantu okuthiwa kuthiwa yini bantu laba abahloniphekile abantu eParliament. No, igama labo honorable, labo kuthiwa honorable. That honorable must go with the debate in Parliament about the problems I'm talking about. They've never even discussed one small issue. Why is our wealth taken in big things abroad? Umcebo wethu uthathelwana usiyaphi? Sitholani thina ngomcebo wethu eSouth Africa? Why lo mcebo uhamba thina asinawo neyodwa, asikwazi nokuzenzela, asikwazi ukwenza lutho? Sithuleleni eParliament. Sithuleleni. Why are we keeping quiet? Why are we sitting emalokishini abelungu bona bahlala kuthiwa yini lento ecebezelayo? Okuthiwa ema-suburbs. As abantu abafika la bahlala ema-suburbs. Thina sihlala sithuleleni singayisho lento. Manje ngithula lo mthwalo kuleli bandla lemva kwami. Ake singathuli bakwethu, izinto ziningi. Why ingane zethu singakwazi ukuzisa esikoleni ezweni lethu, kodwa abantu abafika la yiki ingane ngayo esikoleni? Sithule sithini? Sibange sodwa, sibange amaphathi ethu, sibange ngala lofuna nakuba yiphathi yakhe nalo funa, asazi ukuthi senzani. Sizenza ukuba sibe weak more. Sithuleleni. Ngifuna intsha engizoyizwa manje from now ikhuluma, hayi ngelanga elilodwa makuthiwe kube kudliwa inyama lapha ya kuzothi akasihlanga ake sisho ukuthi nanku lo mhlaba uyahlupha. Siyezwana yini ebangela ukuthi ngisho sesizame ukwenza imali yokufundisa izingane kuphinde kufika abantu.
All right, that is the MK party leader Jacob Zuma addressing the party's youth there, of course, in Claremont in KwaZulu-Natal on the occasion of the 49th anniversary of Youth Day. Of course, Zuma saying there that South Africa is yet to be fully free. He says poverty and oppression are on another level, also challenging the youth to ask more questions. The youth of today need to do more to secure its future. Of course, we've been covering all of those political parties and will continue to give you some of the commemorations that have been covered by various political parties here in the country across, of course, South Africa.